Pan Am Flight 103 en route from London to New York crashes in Scotland. Witnesses say the passengers never had a chance. They all died. Good evening. I'm Karen Foss.
And I'm Huel Perkins, sitting in for Dick Ford.
Holiday travel begins with an international tragedy hitting home in America. The story in Scotland is still being pieced together at this hour.
But this is what we know now. 52 minutes after departing London's Heathrow Airport, Pan Am Flight 103 crashed in Lockerbie, Scotland. All aboard are dead. That's 243 passengers, including 3 infants and 38 students from Syracuse University. There were 15 crew members. In all, some 258 people, all of them dead. The casualties on the ground are not yet known. In the sheep-herding town of Lockerbie, the holiday festivities went up in flames. A Pan Am 747 drops from the sky, a fireball, then a shower of aluminum and fire drops onto the village of 2,500 residents. A truck driver watched as pieces of the aircraft struck a car.
There was a guy over there got out of that car, that's the burnt-out car. Part of the plane, I would guess, hit him. He jumped out of the car, and he hadn't got very far from the car when it exploded. When it went in flames, he was very lucky to get out.
There's no word what's become of the families living in a row of houses that no longer exist. One man is certain his relatives are dead.
It's just one mess. I mean, as far as I know, I've lost my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, and their house is just a 30-foot crater where their house was. Like, I can't even find the house.
Crash investigators are on the scene. Witnesses say the plane broke up seconds before impact.
I believe the thing was on fire when it went across. There was definitely, it was trailing flames. There was a terrible explosion and the whole sky lit up, and it was virtually raining fire. You know, it was just like liquid fire.
Reports of fire before the crash lead some officials to speculate there may have been an explosion or a bomb. The investigation has just begun, but it is known tonight all aboard the flight are dead. At Syracuse University in New York, where 38 students will not return to class, there was a moment of silence at the basketball game. Now, we have a model of a 747, just for illustration. Officials say that the cockpit of the plane, the very front of the aircraft, landed some 2 miles away from the rest of the plane, and the front portion of the plane was reportedly untouched by fire. Now, that's led to speculation that a structural weakness right here or an explosion caused the crash. Now, this section of the plane apparently broke off before the jet hit the ground, but again, it's still too early to say exactly what caused the accident. Now, the scene tonight in Scotland is one of chaos and of flames.
We're going now to Carlisle, Scotland, near the scene of the crash, and joining us by telephone is reporter Susie Bowen with the Border TV network. Susie, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can.
Can you tell us about the casualties on the ground there?
On the ground, the reports are coming in very, very slowly. We know that at least 12 people were severely burned when the crash happened, and we know that emergency services are trying to search through wreckages of houses for bodies, and up to 170 families have been evacuated, but we have no further details of how many people have been killed on the ground.
What kind of area was this? Is it highly populated?
It's a small village of only 2,500 people, but the area around it is very hilly, and they're having to use mountain rescue services as well as the emergency services to search the area for debris.
Susie, we know there were some Americans on board. Are there any American officials at the scene right now?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Are there any American officials on the scene right now?
The American ambassador arrived at about 3 o'clock this morning, and he is at the scene of the accident now. It's believed that he will be talking with families later today. We think that some American families will be flown out to the crash scene later today.
Are there adequate emergency facilities in that area to handle this disaster?
They have not been geared up for a major disaster like this at all, which is why information is coming out very slowly. They have no way of dealing with a major disaster like this, but all emergency services have responded very quickly to the accident.
Thank you very much. That's Susie Bowen of the Border TV network in Scotland. Across the U.S., more than 22 million people will take to the skies during this Christmas holiday.
And for those who have a fear of flying, incidents like today's tragedy in Scotland can be traumatic. In tonight's cover story, Nanette Baker spotlights the problem in this live report from Lambert Airport, where nervous airline passengers are learning of the Scottish disaster. Nanette.
A lot of those passengers learned of the disaster this afternoon. Many of them found out about the plane crash just as they were preparing themselves to come out to the airport and board planes going on to their destinations for the Christmas holiday. Some of them say they did have a few second thoughts about airline safety after hearing the news. Obviously, the last thing any air traveler wants to hear about before flying is an airplane crash. That was the case today as St. Louisans left this airport for other areas.
Makes me nervous anyway, and that makes it much worse. So, yeah, I don't like it. But, gotta go home. I don't have any choice. I mean, yeah, I don't like the idea. I mean, it's a horrible thing, and I hate to know that it's happened, and it does make me more uneasy about flying.
Passengers returning from London first heard about the crash after landing here at Lambert. They were surprised at the news.
You think of the reality as distance from yourself after you spend 12 hours on a plane coming in from London and 12 hours getting there. It's a sad time and a sad event. I don't know what else you can say. Just for the grace of God, go on.
Well, a lot of passengers expressed some nervousness following today's airline tragedy. Those people heading home for Christmas say that this did not deter their travel plans.
I fly a lot for business, and I don't get nervous about flying, but I do respect that it is quite a bit up, it's a dangerous thing, but, I drive, and that's dangerous, too.
Psychologists say more than 20 million people suffer from a fear of flying, and an incident like this one can cause trauma for those people. But professionals say it's important to keep the tragedy in perspective.
Try to focus as best you can on the realistic aspects of what you're facing. In other words, the actual probabilities of such a tragedy occurring, of course, are very low. We know that flying per passenger mile is, I believe, the safest of all of the various forms of commercial transportation.
And of course, that is good information whether you have a serious fear of flying or you're just a little nervous about traveling by air. I'm Nanette Baker reporting live from Lambert Airport.
Thanks, Nanette.
Well, Pan Am has set up a hotline if you're seeking information about relatives or friends who may have been on the flight.
And the phone number is 1-800-221-1111. The number 1-800-221-1111. We will, of course, have more on this tragedy tomorrow morning on Today in St. Louis. In other news, here in St. Louis, a fertilizer company worker is dead tonight after being pinned under machinery on a barge. 24-year-old John Bozzello was operating a loader when he was somehow trapped under a shovel. He was working alone on the barge. Bozzello was discovered by a co-worker late this afternoon. He was an employee of Lang Stedman, a fertilizer supply company. St. Louis friends of a Dallas, Texas man are rallying around him tonight.
The man was severely stabbed a week ago during an incident that has gained national attention.
Most of that attention has focused on the cool reaction of the man's children who saved his life.
Channel 5's Rich Eisen reports the man and his children have plenty of friends who now want to help them. Rich.
Huel Dale Hollingsworth and his children Laura and Buddy moved to Dallas 2 years ago. They'd come from St. Louis. It was lessons the children learned here that saved their dad from being killed by a robber who had entered their home.
What will you say the next time you see him?
Well, God, I'm glad to see you're alive, and I love him.
Margaret Wilson of Woodson Terrace is relieved that her former neighbor Dale Hollingsworth is going to be all right. With his son and daughter looking on, Hollingsworth was attacked by a knife-wielding man in his Dallas, Texas home 1 week ago today. 8-year-old Laura had the composure to call 911.
My dad was covered with blood.
Does he need an ambulance?
Yes.
I need an ambulance. Okay. 1711. Okay, I have to. Okay.
With Laura still on the phone, 13-year-old Buddy Hollingsworth got his father's gun and killed the intruder.
I heard a shot.
Oh, he killed the guy.
Laura calling 911 was probably an automatic reaction for her to do so. And, Buddy's reaction with getting his dad's gun, knowing what to do with it and everything, I'm not really surprised at all.
The Hollingsworths lived next to Wilson for 5 years. She calls them great people. That sentiment is echoed by other friends like Pam Dunn and Carol Knoll. Dale Hollingsworth was stabbed over much of the upper part of his body. He's listed in fair condition at a Dallas hospital.
They're pretty severe that he will recover and do just fine, except that the recovery will be slow.
Dale Hollingsworth had just started a new job and hadn't yet qualified for medical coverage. A fund has been established to help pay his medical bills. To contribute, the address is Hollingsworth Fund, care of Liberty National Bank, Box 679014. That's Box 679014, Dallas, Texas,
888-75367-9014. Now, once again, he's listed in fair condition, but the recovery is expected to take some time. Jewel?
Yeah, we wish him well. He's got some brave children.
He sure does.
He does.
Story.
Thanks, Rich. When we return on Eyewitness News Update.
We'll show you why police think this county firefighter is a rapist. Plus,
there's a song, The 12 Days of Christmas, and tonight on Pertzporn's People, we'll go out and see if we can find 12 gifts for those 12 days. That's Stories After Sports.
Here are tonight's winning numbers in the Missouri State Lottery.
firefighter remains in custody tonight on charges he raped women in the county as long ago as 1974. 34-year-old Michael Cunningham is charged with raping a dozen women during the 13-year period. Cunningham works for the Robertson Fire District and lives in University City. County police found evidence that a 1982 rape case. It touched off the string of charges against Cunningham.
This is part of some physical evidence gathered as part of a 1982 rape case. That evidence came to light to us, and that's when we determined to further investigate the case when the suspect's name came about. He would enter apartments where single women were occupying the apartments at the time of the offense.
Cunningham's bond is now set at $200,000.
One of the nation's leading securities firms, Drexel Burnham, is paying off a record federal fine tonight. The $650 million fine was imposed against Drexel after it pleaded guilty to 6 fraud charges. The plea is a stunning turnaround for Drexel, which had been implicated in numerous fraud cases by Ivan Boesky. All along, Drexel had denied any wrongdoing. Boesky himself was fined $100 million after he turned government's witness.
Up next, Bob takes a look at the holiday forecast.
He says there'll be a little rain here, a little rain there, but will it rain on his house? We'll find out when we return.
Well, this weather has everybody smiling around the Weather Center, Bob.
Yes, we're smiling.
Like for last-minute shopping.
Yeah, you know, we'd like to see some snow for Christmas, though.
I'd like to on a little card, about
bit.
5 by 7, a pretty picture.
Would you like to see some snow? Let's see some snow, okay? Karen wants a white Christmas. Let's give it to you right now. We're going to go out to the Sierras of California and western Nevada. Here you go. This is about as close as we're going to get to a white Christmas with, generally speaking, what was that?
There it is.
Oh, yeah, that's okay. It's a little weather verite. Anyway, we have clouds over the area right now. Partly cloudy weather out at the airport. Mostly clear skies. 36 degrees currently. Humidity 69%. Anyway, the winds. The winds are out of the east at 6, and this is weather verite. The barometer is rising 30.31, 46 degrees. The high temperature today, the low this morning down to 29. There's the snow out in the Sierras. No go for snow here in the Midwest. Looks like things should remain relatively dry, or at least, should I say, snow-free for the next few days, not necessarily dry. We do have clouds moving in from the west. You can see them on the satellite picture review of the day. Clouds pushing in over the Rockies and the Plain States today. Generally clear skies overhead right now, but things are about to change. Let's go into the Midwest. One storm system departs last night. 24 hours ago, the clouds and the rain push into the Ohio Valley. Clear skies for the most part today. In come the clouds, more Gulf moisture to the south. And the bottom line, a gradual increase in clouds towards morning, a pretty good shot at rain in about 18 to 24 hours. Here's the weather map tonight. Fair weather pattern holds over the Midwestern states. Generally clear skies, cool conditions tonight. Watch the storm over the Rockies. Into the Plain States we go tomorrow. Could even see some showers and thunderstorms by afternoon tomorrow as a very vigorous storm system pushes on through the Midwestern states. A lot of folks are traveling tomorrow. Check out temperatures coast to coast. Warmest readings will be over Florida and southern Texas with readings in the 70s to low 80s. 40s here, 50s just to the south. 20s and 30s over the northern tier of states. The maps continue in motion. By Friday, storm system pushes on out. Should be generally clear Friday. Lots of sunshine. The next storm in a continual series should reach us Friday night and Saturday. Pretty good chance for rain. Speaking of Saturday, the big Christmas Eve national forecast is on the air right now. Check this one out. Lots of people traveling for Christmas coast to coast. It looks like the main trouble spots snow-wise will be over the northern plains, the upper Midwest, the northern Rockies. Rain here possible on Saturday. Rain as well over the Pacific Northwest coastal areas. In the meantime, low temperatures tonight around the two-state area will fall well into the 30s. Possible upper 20s well to the north of the city. Readings, as you can see, generally speaking, in the low to mid-30s throughout most of the two-state area. Warmer conditions tomorrow. Along with that, a chance for rain. For tonight in St. Louis, generally clear skies to start, but a gradual increase in clouds towards morning. Low temperatures down to 34. Southeast winds at 10 tonight. Tomorrow, a pretty good shot at rain, especially afternoon and evening stuff. showers, possible thunderstorms, high temperature at least up to 50 degrees with south winds at 15. Tomorrow night, skies remain cloudy, rain early, possible thunderstorms during the evening. We'll follow that with clearing skies by morning. Overnight lows down to 34. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, we call it the 5-day forecast. Check this one out. On Thursday, chance for rain, that's tomorrow. Another chance for rain on Saturday, possibly into Monday as well. Christmas Day at this point, dry, with temperatures in the 40s. Throughout the period, temperatures will remain just a wee bit above normal. Nearest snow, about 400 miles to our northwest this weekend.
Okay, thanks, Bob. Eyewitness News has just learned a St. Louis man may be a victim of the ill-fated Pan Am Flight 103 that crashed in Scotland. Roger Hurst's family phoned us from their Chesterfield home saying their son was aboard Flight 103. Hurst had been in London and was returning to his current home in New Jersey.
We'll be right back in a minute.